Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. mypillow.com. Promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Boy, there's been a lot of breaking news since we last talked on Friday. Wow, is all I can say. First, Friday afternoon, the news of President Trump and the New York mayor-elect meeting in the Oval Office and seemingly finding some common ground, with the president saying that Zohran Mamdani is rational. Wow, again. Didn't see that coming, did you? And then we get the news that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning her seat in Congress effective in January. Another, I didn't see that coming either. Tonight, Greenville City Council will be voting on their anti-camping ordinance, which would make it illegal to sleep or lie down for more than 2 hours on most public property. This is going to be interesting to watch. We've talked about that over the past few weeks. And Mike Gallagher and I attended a birthday party for a 100-year-old listener on Saturday. And boy, what a fun time we had talking with Joyce in Tryon, North Carolina, as she shared her secret to longevity. You're going to want to hear this.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
New York City's brand new socialist mayor just doubled down and called President Trump a fascist, and then turned around and said, well, he could probably work with it. Now, none of this is making sense, folks. Zohran Mamdani, New York's new mayor-elect, says he can work with Trump to make the city more affordable, the same Trump that he has spent years attacking as a tyrant. So what's going on here? Political awakening? Or is this just political theater? So here's the story. Friday, Zohran Mamdani, a self-described socialist and one of the most progressive politicians in New York, walked into the Oval Office to meet President Donald Trump. And here's where it gets interesting. Instead of fireworks, the two actually got along.
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting.
All right, with all the rhetoric back and forth, did you ever think you'd hear Donald Trump say that about Zohran Mamdani? Trump called him smart. Mamdani said the two agreed on affordability, and they even shook hands for the cameras. Now, that's quite a picture. A socialist mayor-elect and the former real estate mogul turned president sitting in the Oval Office talking about rent prices and zoning laws in New York City. Now, just as the meeting ended, a reporter asked Mamdani point blank, do you still believe President Trump is a fascist? And before Mamdani could dance around it, Trump himself jumped in, classic Trump, and said, that's okay. You can just say it. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind. You probably saw the clip of that. And sure enough, Mamdani doubled down. He said, yes, that's something I've said before, and I say it again. And then Sunday morning on NBC, Mamdani was asked again and doubled down again.
In that press conference with President Trump, a reporter asked you whether you believe that President Trump is in fact a fascist, a word that you've used in the past. You were about to answer, then President Trump sort of jumped in and he said, quote, that's okay, you can just say yes, it's easier than explaining it. So Mr. Mayor-elect, just to be very clear, do you think that President Trump is a fascist?
And after President Trump said that, I said yes. And
so you do?
And that's something that I've said in the past. I say it today.
Now, I know the old saying that politics makes strange bedfellows, and I've known that about anything can happen in politics, but I never thought I would see that happen. I mean, let's get this straight. He thinks Trump is a fascist, but he's willing to work with him anyway. Can you help break this down for me? Can you help me understand this? Text me, email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. You can always leave a voice message and always use promo code Joey when you go to MyPillow.com as well. So, to be fair, Mamdani says his focus is on one thing, and that's affordability. He wants the city to be affordable for the average person again. And I get that. That's a noble cause. I hope he can be successful. He claims that he and the president had a serious issue-focused discussion about the cost of living in New York City, housing, zoning, construction red tape, and how long it takes to build anything under New York's land use laws. Trump, of course, has built a lot of stuff in Manhattan before he ever ran for office, so he knows how tough the city's bureaucracy can be. And Mamdani admitted that New Yorkers, even in the Bronx and Queens, told him they voted for Trump because of the cost of living. That right there is the story nobody in the mainstream media wants to talk about. Working class Democrats, even socialists, realizing that under Joe Biden, affordability was gone. Poof, out of here. Mamdani is still pushing a hard left agenda, though. He thinks that they should have free child care, free public buses, higher income taxes on millionaires and corporations, which are going to send a lot of companies and a lot of people out of New York City. But here's where it gets interesting. Mamdani says if Trump or anyone else can find another way to fund those programs, he's open to it. In his words, more important than how we fund something is that we fund something. Translation, I'll take Trump's money too. If it gets the programs done, I'll take all the federal money I can get. Now, that's not exactly fiscal conservatism, but it is a rare moment of pragmatism from the far left. Mamdani also made it clear that he's not increasing New York's police force. He says 35,000 officers is enough. So we've got a mayor who wants free everything, higher taxes, no more cops. I mean, it's a recipe that we've seen before in big blue cities, and we've also seen the end of the movie. It doesn't turn out very well. So here's the bottom line. Trump and New York's socialist mayor may have found something they agree on, affordability. And look, I think we all can agree on that, can't you? The whole country needs to become affordable again. We're still seeing these COVID pandemic prices. It's crazy when you go to breakfast and it's $15-20. We've got to make America affordable again. But calling the president a fascist while standing there in the Oval Office and then doubling down on it on the news shows over the weekend following your meeting with the president, I just don't know how that works. That tells you everything about modern politics, I guess, optics over principle. Trump, meanwhile, doesn't seem fazed. He's playing the long game, talking kitchen table economics while his critics are shouting names. And guess what? I guess that's why he keeps winning over working class voters, even in places like New York City. But did it surprise you? How do you feel? And I want to get your feedback. I want you to text me. I want you to email me. Leave me a message on the MyPillow message line, 864-477-JOEY. Were you as surprised as I was? And I got to be honest, I just don't completely understand it. I mean, I get that Trump has to work with Mamdani, and I guess one of the motivating factors for Trump especially is the fact that he does own so much property in New York and will probably continue to build in New York. And so, he's got to get along with the powers that be in New York. I get that. But did he have to have a meeting in the Oval Office after, literally calling Mamdani a communist Don't you think that he could have foregone a meeting in the Oval Office and still accomplish the same thing? What do you think? Was this meeting a genuine moment of bipartisanship, or was it just political theater? And who came out ahead? I've seen various headlines. Some have said that Donald Trump, once again, the art of the deal, that he out-negotiated Mamdani. Others are saying that Mamdani took advantage of Trump and that Mamdani came out the winner in the whole thing. Send me a text. Email me, joe@joeyhudson.com, because I don't get it. I honestly don't. I don't understand why the president would be so friendly with this guy. And make no mistake here. Just like we saw Mamdani do in the NBC interview yesterday morning, when he completely doubled down again, saying that Trump's a fascist, he will cut Donald Trump's throat every chance he gets. I just don't believe that. I think the president may be a little naive, and I go out on a limb at saying that, but I think he's a little naive to think that Mamdani is going to try to work with Trump. Mamdani is going to do what's best for Mamdani. He cares nothing about the success of Donald Trump unless it helps him succeed also. Just like he said, he's open to other ways to fund his programs. If that means taking federal dollars from Donald Trump, he's happy to do that. But if Donald Trump doesn't come through with the federal dollars, Mamdani is going to do what he has to do to carry out his campaign promises. I'm just not sure how this is going to end. Are you? Joey Hudson here, and this is it. PhD Weight Loss is running their best deal ever for Black Friday, and it's happening right now. They're waiving your consultation fee, adding 2 free weeks to your program, and even covering the cost of your food. Just mention the promo code BESTDEAL when you call, and you'll get a discount I can't even say on the air. Every year, the holidays hit, the pounds creep on, and by January, we're all back at the gym. But what if you could finish the year already feeling lighter, stronger, and more confident? That's what happens with PhD Weight Loss. Their metabolic reset system teaches your body to burn fat first, naturally and sustainable. I lost over 30 pounds with PhD, and it changed everything. My coach helped me through travel, holidays, parties. I actually enjoyed the season and lost weight. So don't wait. For Black Friday only, they're offering their best deal ever. Consultation free waived. 2 free weeks. Their 5 steps to reset the scale book, and your food is absolutely covered. Call 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900. Mention best deal or visit online at myphdweightloss.com. All right, so the other shocking headline over the weekend that has dominated the discussion was Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, one of President Trump's loudest allies. Of course, they have been kind of back and forth recently, is calling it quits. She says who's resigning from Congress in January after what she calls a hurtful and hateful split with the very man she once called her political hero. Here's an excerpt of her announcement.
I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest, and the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Now again, MTG and Trump, they've been at each other's throats most recently. But what happened between them, did you see this coming? Did you think that she would resign? Here's the story. Representative Greene, dropping this political bombshell, says she will resign from Congress effective January the 5th, 2026. That's halfway through her term. Her statement came just a week after President Trump publicly pulled his endorsement of her, calling her wacky and a lunatic, and saying she does nothing but complain. Well, ouch. I mean, that hurts. I get that. For a woman who's been on one of President Trump's been one of his fiercest defenders, that's about as personal as it can get. Now, remember, Greene built her career as one of Trump's biggest supporters. She was there doing impeachment fights, January 6th investigations, the border battles, all of it. But in recent weeks, she started breaking ranks. She pushed for the release of the Epstein files, something that Trump called a Democrat hoax initially. Eventually came around and says, yes, we got to put them out there. She also supported extending Obamacare subsidies that were about to expire, another move that Trump did not like. She primarily did it in order to get the government open. She never thought that the government should have closed. And when she demanded transparency from the Justice Department over Epstein, President Trump fired back on Truth Social, calling her disloyal and even encouraging a primary challenger. Now, apparently, that was the final straw. In her resignation statement, Greene wrote, and I'm quoting here, "I have too much self-respect and love for my family, too much to let my district go through a hateful primary against me by the president we all fought for." She said, "I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better." Now, you could tell that she was emotional at times, and it tells you just how deeply this split has cut, how much hurt it has caused for her. She also took a swing at the political circus in Washington, calling the whole thing absurd and unserious. For Greene, this was very personal. It wasn't just politics. And I got to say, and I listened or watched her entire announcement, what she said about Washington and the way that neither party seems to get anything done at times is true. She didn't tell a lie there. And I think you probably agree with that. Yes, President Trump's getting a lot of stuff done, but he still has to fight Congress, and we still have a Republican majority in Congress in both the House and the Senate, and some things is hard, but are they really, can we depend on Congress to do what we think they should do and put America first every single time? I don't think so. I think that politics is nasty. Politics is that they take care of themselves. Politicians do. And if you get in their way, they'll run over you. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene realized it's probably not going to change, and she's over it. She's going to walk away. She's done some good. Most recently, probably not so good, publicly quarreling with the president. But I wish her luck. A lot of text on the text line about Marjorie Taylor Greene and other things. Faye says, Joey, I have a question for MTG. How did you accumulate $25 million since being in office? You had been doing a good job. What happened that you are now blaming on President Trump? Now, that has been circulating a lot. And Faye, I appreciate your text message about her net worth. But you have to understand, Marjorie Taylor Greene has a very successful construction company in Georgia. She's made a lot of money. And I don't know that it's necessarily related to her seat in Congress. Now, it never hurts. I mean, if you're bidding on a job or if you're trying to create new business and you're not a United States congressperson, you're going to get some preferential treatment. That's just part of it. But I really don't think that Marjorie Taylor Greene did anything wrong or illegal or out of the ordinary to take advantage of her seat in Congress. She's a successful construction owner, and she does a good job for her clients. She has a good reputation in that field. So I don't think there's anything to this that, well, she made $25 million in Congress. She made $25 million building buildings. That's what she does. Albert says, just when I thought that the Democrat leadership couldn't get any lower, I watched several trying to get our military to turn against the president. They should be charged with treason. I have 4 grandchildren in the military. They love their job and our president. Yeah, that whole thing with the Democrats saying, hey, look, you can defy the president. You don't have to abide by his orders. Wow. And they are accusing him of inciting a riot. That's just the hypocrites that they are. Tony says, Joey, I've decided to step away from politics. Voting isn't doing any good. Republicans are also the problem with this country. Opposition from his own party has always bothered me, so if they're going to side with Democrats, what's the point in voting, Tony says. Just look at South Carolina politics, especially our governor and lieutenant governor. They're corrupt and made millions from big corporations. Then the Republicans voted in an LGBTQ lady to do the criteria for our schools. So I'm done. I'll still listen to you, but that's it. At least you have some common sense. Anyways, Joey, take care and God bless you. Well, first off, Tony, thank you that you're going to continue to listen to me. I appreciate that. You've been a loyal listener for many years. But, Tony, and as I replied to your text message, take a break, have fun over the holidays, rest up, and refuel and be ready to fight the fight again come January. We can't just go away and give up, Tony. We have to keep fighting, and 2026 is going to be important. And, Tony, we're going to need for you to be engaged. Katrina says, hey, Joey, we can do 2 things at the same time. A dividend to the average American would make a big impact on their financial situation and give them hope for the future. POTUS said it would be a small portion of the windfall. The bulk will be used to pay down our debt. Congress needs to stop playing games and support POTUS programs while we have him. Now, I'm sure Katrina is talking about the tariff dividend that President's calling for, the $2,000. And a lot of people, Republicans primarily, are saying, well, we need to use that money to pay down the debt, not to, one of the problems that some of those folks have is they're afraid that it's going to fuel inflation again, just like the checks did during COVID. That's part of the reason we are where we are today, was because that just added fuel to the fire when the government kept sending those stimulus checks out. This could potentially have the same issue. We'll see. We'll see how that comes down. Jennifer says, hey, Joey, this is why we can't have nice things like civility, unity, decency, consensus, things like that. Some Democrat congressional members did a video telling the military that they don't have to obey the commander-in-chief's illegal orders, and Trump responded that their action is punishable by death, to which the left said the president is threatening to kill congressmen. Jasmine Crockett claims Lee Zeldin accepted money from Jeffrey Epstein, which he did, except that Epstein was a doctor, not the child sex offender Epstein. Yeah, he did get that confused, didn't she? Blue state governors and mayors are protecting illegals and inciting violence against U.S. law enforcement. Trump was not invited to Cheney's funeral. A man named J.D. Vance tried to kill Vice President J.D. Vance. And then in South Carolina, y'all have a state representative drama queen who wants to be your governor. We live in chaos Utter chaos. Jennifer, I can't argue with you. You're right. We do. It is a bit chaotic. But let me tell you what wasn't chaotic and what just really made me feel fantastic over the weekend. And you may have heard me talk about it. You may have heard Mike Gallagher talk about it. What a great time we had on Saturday, Mike Gallagher and me, as we attended a listener birthday party. Joyce, who lives in Tryon, North Carolina, is turning 100 years old this week. And she wanted her friends to join the celebration, and Mike and I went. And it was, I'll tell you, it just really encouraged me to have a better attitude and to keep the faith, because Joyce says that her faith and her attitude is what has allowed her to live to be 100. Mike spent a few minutes with Joyce, and I wanted to share that brief interview that Mike Gallagher did with Joyce.
So we made it to Joyce's 100th birthday. Here you are. Joyce, thank you for letting us be a part of this special day.
Oh, and I'm so happy. And that's such a beautiful day.
God gave you a good day.
Oh, my. Among other blessings, lots of blessings through the years.
Yes, I saw. And your serenity prayer was beautiful to bless the food. That's your favorite prayer?
My favorite prayer, because it says a lot. And I know a lot of prayers, and I've said a lot of prayers, but I don't know where that serenity prayer is.
Yes.
But anywhere, I love that.
Yes.
And I'm so glad to see all these people. I'm overwhelmed by the beauty of the day and the beauty of the people.
Yes.
It's been a wonderful
Well, you are loved.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you to Joey Hudson,
Yes.
Mike Gallagher, and all these friends around.
Yes, and you had a chance to say hi to Mark Davis because it was his idea for me to come to the party.
That's right. So we spoke to Mark Davis.
Yes.
And I love this.
You love your scarf from Israel?
From Israel, my favorite color.
Yes.
And matches my toenails.
Matches your toenails and all the beautiful. You love turquoise, and so I picked out a turquoise scarf from Israel, from the old city, right there, a shop right in the old city of Jerusalem.
You didn't know it was my favorite color.
A little birdie told me you like turquoise.
Oh, thank you for those birdies. And thank you for God. Thank you for these friends. Thank you for the blessings I've had these 100 years.
Yes.
I am so blessed.
You've seen a lot of life in 100 years, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Ups and downs, and I said my favorite quote is when somebody asked me not long ago what I attribute my longevity, I said two things: my faith and my attitude. And they really work.
God bless you. We're so glad to be here, Joyce. Faith and attitude. That's a good message for our audience all over the country. You've just inspired millions of people.
Oh, I hope so, because I've been inspired all my life by faith. Thank you for everything, everybody, and God bless America.
God bless America. Happy birthday, Joyce.
Thank you.
Was that not just amazing? She's just a delightful lady. First time I'd ever met her. She's emailed some, but just a special celebration. And, look, a person who has celebrated a full century of life, but reaching 100 years old, that is a remarkable milestone. I did a little research, and in the U.S., people who are 100 or older, called centenarians, I got to get the word right, are still very small slice of the population. According to a recent report from the U.S. Census Bureau, in 2020, there were only 2 per 10,000 people in the U.S. that reached the age of 100. Other data shows that in 2021, there were about 89,739 who are 100 or older, which amounts to roughly 0.027% of the population. So yes, you can live to be 100, but the odds are still very long. That's the first thing. It's worth noting that the number of people reaching this age is increasing, though. The Pew Research Center says that the number of Americans ages 100 plus is projected to be more than quadruple in the next 30 years, from about 101,000 in 2024 to roughly 422,000 by 2054 because of health care. We have drugs and treatment that can allow us to live longer. But what does living to 100 really look like? And what are the habits, the mindsets, the history behind it? Well, as you heard Joyce say, your attitude and your faith. And she credits both of those. And boy, she was delightful. She was so funny. She was just very delighted that Mike and I came, and all the other people who came to help her celebrate her 100th birthday. God bless you, Joyce, and boy, did I enjoy meeting you. Your comments are welcome on the Firmin Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Firmin Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Firmin Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Firmin Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Firmin, Matthew Firmin. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Firmin Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Firmin Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Firmin Ford online at firminford.com, firminford.com. Well, folks, it's been, I'm going to say, an emotional debate in the city of Greenville recently. A lot of heated discussion, public backlash, and a city council meeting that honestly turned into a shouting match. Greenville leaders are now on the verge of passing a pretty controversial law to combat homelessness, or at least they think it will. Now, it's a law that started out harsh, and it looked like it was probably dead. And somehow it has been revived, and after a whole lot of behind-the-scenes negotiation, it looks like it may be passed tonight, as City Council is going to vote again. The proposal is called the Anti-Camping Ordinance. It would make it illegal to sleep or lie down for more than 2 hours on most public property, sidewalks, benches, city right-of-ways, and just any public area. It would also ban storing personal belongings or setting up tents on public land. At first, it sounded like a crackdown, and it drew instant outrage from a lot of nonprofit groups and community advocates who said that the city was criminalizing homelessness. And in a way, they are. Because some people, they're not out there by choice. It's just a circumstance of life. Now, just days, just the day of the final vote, or what could be the final vote, that tone has sort of changed over the past couple of weeks. And I've talked to council members, I've talked to nonprofit leaders. If you missed my conversation with Ryan Dirk, who's CEO, president of Miracle Hill Ministries, you might want to go back and see and listen to that. You can go to my YouTube channel. It's there. Just go to YouTube, search for Joey Hudson, and listen to my conversation with Ryan, because he makes some very valid points. And Ryan and groups like Miracle Hill and Salvation Army, they work with people every single day. So by putting them in jail, is that going to help homelessness? I'm not sure that it will. Now, the city council has been rewriting the proposal behind the scenes, we're told, and the new version includes a set of amendments that would actually require the city to expand services for people experiencing homelessness before enforcement can begin. In other words, if you're going to take them off the street, where are they going to go? That means more 24/7 public restrooms, a permanent day shelter, and a formal outreach program to try to help these people. In other words, the city can't start writing citations until those resources exist. Mayor Knox White, who was one of the first to push for the law, said he would not support it unless those changes are made. Councilman John DeWorkin, who's been leading the charge, says he plans to introduce those amendments at tonight's meeting. He also wants to remove the March 1st start date, saying that the ordinance needed more cooking. Not quite sure what that means. He said, here's what he told reporters. It meant spending more time with our strategic partners and stakeholders. I think we've accomplished that. So that's where things stand right now. So if the law passes, Greenville would take a big step towards giving city stronger tools to move people off the streets while also committing to more resources for those in need. And there has to be a balance there, doesn't there? You can't just arrest people because they're sleeping on the street. If you put them in jail, our jails are going to be full of nonviolent criminals. You make them a criminal when you pass an ordinance like this that says that they can't sleep on a bench. And then if you catch them sleeping on the bench for 2 hours or more, then they become a criminal. Now, supporters like DeWorkin and Mayor White say that this is about balance, and that's what it should be. There has to be a balance. They argue that businesses and residents have real concerns about safety, sanitation, public spaces being overrun, but that simply forcing people out isn't the goal. And I hope they're honest about that. And I understand that. I understand businesses being concerned. I understand people who live downtown being concerned. They see this as a way to connect people with help and not just punish them. And I hope that that's what really happens here. One of the most significant voices, again, in this debate has been Miracle Hill Ministries, the upstate's largest homeless outreach organization. And as I said, I interviewed CEO Ryan Dirk initially. They opposed the ordinance outright. But after weeks of discussion, and after the city agreed to dedicate real dollars toward new facilities, outreach programs, Ryan Dirk and others says that they're now cautiously optimistic. Now, again, those homeless providers are not convinced that this is necessarily the right thing to do. Mr. Dirk, in my interview with him, said that some of these things have been tried in other cities and they haven't worked there. Here's an excerpt of my interview with Ryan Dirk, CEO of Miracle Hill Ministries.
Well, I think it's important for your listeners to know that this is not the first time this has come up. Back before COVID, maybe 2018, 2019, the city started to move forward with a no camping ordinance. Myself, someone from the Salvation Army, and at the time, the Greenville Homeless Alliance, we went and met with them and we talked them out of it from the perspective of, you cannot criminalize someone's inability to have somewhere to go. Yeah. That being said, it came back up this year, kind of on the heels of the creation of Greenville Together, which is, a collaborative organization aimed at helping the people specifically that are unsheltered. They're on the streets. They're not willing to come into a shelter. And we believed at the time that the city was going to give us plenty of time to get Greenville Together up and running before they even considered an ordinance. Several months later, the ordinance was back on the table. And myself and the service providers kind of delivered three messages to the city. The first one is you can't criminalize homelessness. It's not illegal to not have somewhere to go. Number two, we understand that the city has the right and responsibility to protect its streets for everybody, the unsheltered, the visitors, the businesses, and the citizens of the city. And then number three, an ordinance on its face would be unsuccessful. It would not accomplish anything that they hope to accomplish other than the criminalization of homelessness. And for that matter, it's been tried many times throughout the country with no visible or measurable benefit to the cities where they exist.
And it wasn't just Miracle Hill who has not been quite convinced this is the way to approach this. Another local coalition, Greenville Together, which launched earlier this year as a community-wide effort to tackle homelessness, said the same thing. Director Cody Carver was quoted as saying in an email that their position is not one of opposition, but that they want to make sure the plan remains outreach first, focused on connecting people with services, not the criminal justice system. So it sounds like Greenville's nonprofits are on board, at least for now, if in fact the city can work with them and help provide the services that these people need. And that's the important thing. As we head into Thanksgiving and Christmas, a time of the year that we're thinking of others and we're trying to help others, I just hope that the city council will listen to these nonprofit leaders, listen to people who are out there working with this type of population every single day, and understand we got to help them. We can't just put them in jail. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Firmin Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.